microphone over to our matron of honor, Sandy.
It's been nice to catch up with so many of you today. Thank you all for coming to celebrate Frank and Olga. I am Sandy, I'm Olga's maid of honor, and thank you so much again for coming. It really was a beautiful day. We're so happy the rain held down. We got to be outside. I've known Frank for many years, and I can say a lot of things, but I'm going to leave that to my husband. I just wanted to mention not too long ago that Frank mysteriously disappeared for many, many months. And then he resurfaced, and he was in a brand new relationship. He was very anxious to meet her, for us all to meet, and when he told me Olga's name, I immediately, in this day and age, went to Facebook. I looked up Olga to see what I could find out, and what I found was a very beautiful girl with such a pretty smile, pretty clothes, everything. She also appeared to be very athletic, which I am not, so right then I was immediately intimidated. But over the last 15 years, Frank has become one of my closest friends, so I really wanted to make a good impression, but I was so nervous. Our first dinner went really well, and after dinner, the boys decided to go to Dave & Buster's. I knew that if Olga and I were going to be friends, she would not want to play arcade games, like children, and she didn't, so I really thought that was a big win. And that was the night I discovered Olga liked margaritas, which was an even bigger win, and that's how we started the day today, was with a margarita, so that was so fun. Since then, Olga and I have spent a lot of time together, and that has allowed us to become fast friends. I found out that night she was also really nervous to meet, so that made me feel better. A few months ago, there was another Spender family wedding, and since many of you were there, Olga and Frank asked me to watch Audrey. As the day went on, I realized that I was watching Audrey, but Olga was watching me watch Audrey on the security cameras. Yeah, she's shaking her head because she knows it's so true. But I was so excited today when she asked me to stand up with her today, as her and Frank said I do, and I am beyond ecstatic that Frank found such a perfect wife, and that I get to call her my friend. I'm sorry. Shut up. He's in trouble already. But anyway, I can't wait to create more memories with the both of you together, and thank you for having me today.
Good job, Frank. First of all, I'd like to say, doesn't the bride look gorgeous? I'd also like to thank God for holding off on the rain for an hour. It would have been better if you didn't torture us all week and cause a lot of undue stress. But we'll take it. So I'd like to introduce myself. Many of you will be surprised to learn that my real name is actually John. Back in our college days, I got the name Tony, and Frank has been introducing me as Tony to all his family and friends ever since. In fact, when I got married, Frank was best man at my wedding, and he gave a speech where he referred to me as Tony. My entire family was confused. They thought he was at the wrong wedding. They even interrupted the speech a few times to say, his name is not Tony. I got a lot of big mouth cousins, but... Anyway, speaking of that speech, Frank had a very good time giving it at my expense. And I'd just like to say I've been waiting 15 years for this moment. So a few months back, we received a beautiful invitation in the mail. You've all seen it. They looked great in that picture. And just like many of you, the first thing that popped in my mind was, what does wedding casual mean? And then, do they not realize it's football season and the Giants are playing the Cowboys? But the next thought was, what an interesting story. A boy raised in North Dakota, whose childhood was terrorized by chronic frozen eyelids, somehow fell in love with a girl raised in a distant European land. So I wanted to share a little bit about that story from my perspective. So I've known Frank for many years. We went to college together. We once spent 30 hours in an airplane to Australia. One year we ended up in Vegas on Thanksgiving morning after a few beers and a juvenile I Dare You game the night before. In later years, after the arrival of Frank and Emily, there were many kid birthday parties, family barbecues, day trips to places like Wild West City and Kalahari. So it goes without saying that I feel like I know Frank pretty well, which is why I was so confused a couple months back when he kept turning down my invitations to hang out because he had plans with people from work. And I even said to my wife, how many friends from work can he possibly have? He's not really that likable. I started to get really suspicious when the wardrobe changed all of a sudden. Gone was the brown sweater and the Mansfield Elementary t-shirts, replaced by Polo and Calvin Klein. That's not the Frank I know. I mean, ironically, his name is Spender, but that's not an adjective. Finally, when he showed up in brand new shoes, my suspicions were confirmed. He admitted that he was seeing somebody, and then he said something prophetic. He said, "Don't worry, we're going to take it slow." A couple months later, I'm giving a speech. So after getting to know Olga, I quickly realized that she was a kind and generous friend. And if anybody here has been on the receiving end of a gift from Olga, you know what I mean. I have bottles of wine at home where I'm not sure if I should drink them or if I should lock them in a bowl. Just a word of advice, do not let her near your teapot. I made that mistake once and she melted the handle off of mine, but I will say she replaced one that was 10 times better. So after spending time with Frank and Olga, it became clear where this story was going. Even though they come from different parts of the world, they are similar in so many ways. They are both hardworking, intelligent, funny, and maybe just a little bit stubborn. They're both terrific parents. They're loyal friends. They gave us Audrey. But most importantly, you can tell how happy they make each other. So with that, I'd like to make a toast to Frank and Olga. May the rest of your story be filled with great health, much happiness, and all the love that is apparent today. Budimor, which is cheers in Ukrainian. Good thing.
Very nicely said by Tony and Sandy. What do you think, folks? Have a nice round of applause for them. We're just a few moments away right here from that buffet opening, but we will have some music and enjoy in the meanwhile.
Make a way downtown, walking fast, faces